Okay, so today we're going to be discussing some more information that has supposedly been leaked about the Resident Evil 1 remake that isn't even officially announced yet, so this is leaks on leaks on leaks. I've said that word way too much the past like 4 or 5 days, and it's starting to get a bit annoying, so hopefully this is the last time there is information about this game out there that is real or not, because yeah, there's a lot going on with this game and it's kind of frustrating at this point. So in terms of like sources and stuff, this one is apparently an email was sent to a well-known Resident Evil creator or community member, and anonymous emails, either they do happen or it's just somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about and stuff like that. So again, with any kind of leak, just take it with a bit of doubt, and as always with videos I've made over the past week, nothing I've said in the video is fact. There are currently creators out there that are apparently kind of leading people to suggest that these leaks are real. They are not until there is an official announcement. Do not take them as a guarantee until you see the game, if it even exists. So yeah, today we'll go over the points that were kind of sent in this email, which have been listed on a Twitter post. I will leave the link to that in the description so you can see them for yourself. But yeah, we'll go through them one by one and kind of discuss them and then give some overall thoughts at the end. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so I bundled the first two together because they're quite brief. So it says the working title for the game is currently Biohazard RE1, which again isn't really a shock. A lot of these games are called Biohazard in other countries, so it being called Biohazard RE1 isn't anything that is too far-fetched. And it also says the game will be a lot slower, well, not a lot, it will say more slower paced than the Resident Evil 2 remake. And again, kind of makes sense. If you've played RE1 or RE1 Remake, you'll know there's not as many enemies in that game, so it naturally feels slower. Some people don't like it, some people do, but I do think it is quite good. So yeah, there's not many enemies in the game. You can kind of avoid a lot of them too, so you don't really need to fight much. But having it be slower paced than the 2 remake does make sense. Also goes on to say, because of that, each zombie will have their own unique model, and that's due to, again, there being not as many enemies in the game compared to other games in the series, which is pretty cool if that's true. It'd always be nice to see something new every time you turn the corner, so that's always nice. Next one, this is a weird one. It says more bullets required to take out RE1 zombies compared to the Resident Evil 2 remake, quoted as bullet sponges. It's a weird thing to point out. Now I do think that if you look back at Resident Evil 2 remake, zombies can be a bit tanky in that game. There are ways to deal with them, and sometimes it's RNG, but they are fairly tanky. I do think, again, it's down to the game not being like crammed with enemies like Resident Evil 4 or 5. Like, there's not as many to deal with, so having them be more spongy does kind of balance it out. It is annoying at times, especially in certain rooms, but it is what it is. So them being more tanky in Resident Evil 1, it does have a bit of logic behind it. I personally think the 2 remake tanky zombies were enough, and I think having that random crit chance was always like quite a nice addition to it, because it made it feel like you know, you could go into a room and who knows, you could one-shot every single enemy in the room and it'd be really fun, or you'd waste a lot of ammo and just decide to run around instead. So it gives you kind of a risk-reward type thing, especially on the later difficulties, so I'm not sure I agree with them being more spongy than that. Next point is a very brief one. Crimson Heads will return. Now, this is an enemy that was introduced in the remake of 1, and pretty much how it works is when zombies go down, you can burn them to stop them from spawning in again, or getting back up. I think if you kill them a certain amount of times and leave them there, they do come back as Crimson Heads, which are literally just fast zombies. There is actually a boss fight that is literally just a Crimson Head, and it's no different to a normal one. But yeah, I guess that's cool to bring back. Whether they bring back the system of being able to burn the bodies or not, I don't know. But having Crimson Heads in the game, it does make some areas of the map feel a bit more dangerous, because these are faster zombies, and sometimes with the areas they're in, they can be quite menacing. So having them come back would be pretty cool, and I don't have any issue with them personally. Next one goes in to say that the RE1 lore will be explored further. Now, I think this is a given with the remake. I think they have more resources to go into more background stuff and more detail. What that will be, it doesn't necessarily say. It literally just says RE1 lore will be explored further. So that could be as much as having more background story on what happened to the other S.T.A.R.S members. It could be the mansion itself. It could be Spencer. It could be Wesker and what he's doing more specifically while everyone else is going around. We don't know. Some people have said in response to this, it would be cool if they kind of introduced story elements from Resident Evil 0 and kind of packaged them as one game instead of remaking both of them. Again, I don't know. I think 0 and 1 are separate enough games for them to both kind of have their own different game, but with Rebecca being in this game, it wouldn't surprise me if there was mention more so of 0 than there was in the current remake. Now the next few points get interesting. This is definitely an interesting wording wise at least. So it says, a different third person camera will be used, slower paced again. Now this has sparked some debate. A different third person camera. So currently with third person, if you look at 2, 3 and 4 remakes, it is just over the shoulder third person. Well, not over the shoulder, but you know what I mean. It's proper third person. And it specifically says different third person camera will be used. What that means, I do not know. People have already jumped onto fixed camera angles because in a way it's third person because you're not like through the eyes of the character. That sparked a massive debate that the remake might actually be a fixed camera game. Interesting to see if that is the case, but yeah, I don't know what that means necessarily in terms of like a different third person camera. Maybe it's more zoomed in, I don't know, just to make it feel more claustrophobic. I do not know, but yeah, the wording of that is quite interesting, and there is more details now about like kind of the environments as well, so this might lead into the fact that it might be a fixed camera remake. And the final point is no more pre-rendered backgrounds. Each room will load up background assets and the rest of the assets will load when doors are opened. This is used to improve visuals and lighting. Interesting that it points out pre-rendered backgrounds and background assets and stuff like that. I'm not a game dev, so words like that do kind of go over my head, so if anyone wants to kind of maybe kind of prove me wrong with what I'm going to say, then feel free. But having the backgrounds be like more dynamic and more like realistic instead of just pre-rendered images, that doesn't necessarily say, especially if you kind of take in consideration the third person camera being different, that it won't be a fixed camera game. Like, it's possible to do that still, especially with nowadays tech, I believe. So they do kind of go hand in hand there, and again, it's going to spark some debate about whether the game's going to be traditional third person or fixed camera. I think first person is out of the question, especially if these kind of points are real. But yeah, it's interesting. I can't really go into it more than that. I'm not really a game dev, so I can't really kind of put 2 and 2 together there. But it's interesting to see that at least. But here's the thing, overall, with these like points that have been made, I don't know if it's bogus or not, alright? Like, no one does yet. But the points here, they're so kind of like plausible that they could be real. Like, that's just me saying that. Maybe someone has just kind of found things in the game that would be something would make sense in the remake and put them together. I don't know. But a lot of time with these leaks, and this is just me like spitballing a bit here, when you see a leak for a Resident Evil game, which happens way too much personally, there's always 1 or 2 points in there that are just a bit out there, like a bit of a stretch. And I think, while that's not the case here, there are definitely some things where I look at it and go, okay, that's a bit of a weird choice to put in a list of potential leaks, if it even is real. So, yeah, I don't really know what to make of this list. I think a lot of it does make some kind of sense, but some of it can be a bit iffy, I guess. But regardless, I just wanted to cover this information. I think it's been out for like a couple of days now and haven't really been around to it like immediately, but I finally got to it. And I'm hoping, at least for a little bit, this is the last video I need to make on supposed things that are happening with a game that hasn't even been announced yet, or if we even know is real. So hopefully the internet slows down with this Resident Evil 1 stuff and we can kind of move on for a little bit, because RE9 announcement is supposedly right around the corner, and I'd much rather focus on that than talking about rumours and leaks for a game that we don't even know exists yet. But as always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree, or at least believe any of the points made in that post? Again, I'll leave a link in the description so you can read it for yourself. And there's a few comments to it as well where people have kind of like discussing it in general, so it's interesting to see what people say. But yeah, thank you for the support on the videos as well in terms of RE1. I know it's like really like a nothing burger at the minute, like nothing has come of it because no one even knows if it's real. But regardless, as much as it annoys me to see constant leaks and rumours being like thrown up by literally everybody, it's interesting to kind of talk about them. So thank you for supporting the videos in terms of that. But yeah, as always guys, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you are new, be sure to subscribe. I try and post Resident Evil content as much as possible, so there's always something to check out on the channel, and as always guys, I'll catch you in the next one.